How's it going today? I hope you're well. I'm Mark Garrett with Land Paradise, and I've got a property to introduce you today nicknamed Bravery. This is offered for sale by Land Paradise. The property is located in Duchesne County, Utah, and the parcel is 2.5 acres. It is a buildable lot with confirmed and insured legal access. A year-round dirt road leads right up to the property. Power poles are on the same side of the property, on the same side of the road of the property, easily accessible. Water is also right in that same location. So there's a private water company that provides water to the parcel, and you can tap into that for a small fee, which we'll get into later in the video. So, septic sewer would be via septic tank, and many in this neighborhood do have that type of septic setup, so it's definitely a viable option as far as sewer. So let's jump right into it. And any of these details you hear me talking about throughout the video can be found on our website, landparadise.us, by clicking on the listings and then finding the property labeled Bravery. So again, that's property nicknamed Bravery, and the parcel's 2.5 acres, currently offered for $13,997. So let's jump right into it. This property is beautiful. It has varied terrain. So the back section of the property, which is about a quarter of that 2.5 acres, quarter to a third of that 2.5 acres, is a pretty steep hill, which I love. That buffers you from the backside, gives you privacy from any neighbors on the street behind you. So I love that. It's going to provide privacy. Actually, across the street is also a very large parcel of land that's privately owned outside the subdivision. So you'll also have privacy on that side as well. When you drive in, if you take a look at this property in person, you'll see a lot of the cabins between the main road and this property are, they're pretty close together, and they don't have a lot of breathing room from some of their neighbors. Where this parcel, because across the street, is unlikely that anybody's going to be building close to your cabin. It's that large parcel, and then behind you is the hill. So that's one of my favorite parts about this property is it is fairly private compared to many of the other parcels in this same neighborhood. The property is located in an HOA called Utah Mini Ranches, and that HOA is very well established. They've been around for many years. They have a great track record as far as their financial sovereignty and use of funds, and you can find them at utahminiranches.com, I believe. The listing on my website has a link directly to the HOA website, and if you text, call, or email me, I can send you a link to a Dropbox folder that's got all the documentation. I'd be happy to do that, so just reach out. I took all the property photos myself, and so I can vouch that they were taken directly on the parcel of land. And you can see this one here is a view to the north towards the High Uinta Mountains, which are maybe about an hour drive from this property. You'll find those alpine forests with pine trees, aspen trees, and the like. Lots of high mountain lakes and streams. Plenty of hiking, and actually not as many people as you would find across the mountains closer to the valley here in Utah. So a lot less people out there. So if you're looking for a quiet place to either camp in a tent or with your RV periodically and build a future cabin, this is it. As far as regulations from the county, Duchesne County does not have very strict regulations as far as camping in RVs and that sort of thing goes. The HOA restrictions as far as camping, you can camp in a tent or an RV for up to 2 nights without any permission from the HOA. If you want to go longer than that, they just ask that you call, text, or email and let them know. They will allow you to stay up to 2 weeks in an RV before you have to move. So it is allowed up to 2 weeks. or 2 nights without permission. So that's kind of the camping, what the camping situation is. Many of the landowners in this area have built beautiful cabins, and I would love for you to take a look at this property in person as soon as you can get a chance. Get out there and just drive the area, get familiar with it. But there's many beautiful cabins out there. The utilities. Let's actually check the next slide. So you can see here. This is drive time from Provo to the property. The property is situated about 25 minutes south and east of Starvation Reservoir, and about 15 minutes southeast of the city of Duchesne. So if you've ever been out that direction on the 40 and past Starvation Reservoir, it's a beautiful high mountain lake. Great place to spend an afternoon. In the summertime, swimming, kayaking, that sort of thing, or ice fishing in the winter. So that's kind of the location. As far as the drive time from Salt Lake, it's just over 2 hours. I think Google Maps routes it at like 2 hours and roughly 7 minutes. So almost the same drive from Provo or Salt Lake, and a few minutes more from Salt Lake, but it's easily accessible. The HOA does pave the roads in the winter, and my car that I drove out to take pictures of the property has low profile 2-inch tires, and it does not have clearance. And there are not a lot of potholes. So the HOA does a really good job. I had no trouble getting out there in a standard car, sedan, low profile, no problem. So in the wintertime, they do pave the roads, and so this property does have year-round access. Let's take a look at the property boundary. So you can see this is an image of the property looking to the east. So you can kind of see that hill that I was talking about earlier on the back side of the property, further from the road. That's where that hill is. There is a bit of a wash up front on the western part of the property. According to Duchesne County, this property is not in a floodplain. So you can call them to confirm that. It does have a small wash, but it is not in a floodplain. And it is, FEMA. Let me see what they mark it as. I'm just looking on the listing here. So it's flood zone D, which means possible risk is uncertain. And as far as I know, as far as the research that I've done, I do not believe any extra insurance would be needed, but you may want to check with an insurance company to double check on that. But as far as Duchesne County is concerned, it is not in a floodplain, and there's nothing extra you would have to do to get your building plans approved through Duchesne County. So my opinion is the best build site for this property would be right where the star is and the name Bravery on this photograph that you're currently looking at. That's where you have the most distance from the wash, the widest area where you could build your cabin. The neighbor actually to the south of this parcel, the neighbor to the south has already built their cabin, and their access road, their driveway goes right through the wash. So it doesn't seem, I didn't see any ruts or anything where they drive in and out from their cabin to the main road. So you can just build your driveway right across that wash. No need for any culverts or bridges or anything like that, unless you choose to put them in. But again, the county doesn't require anything like that. So that's where I would say the best build site would be. And you can actually see that dirt road that goes from north to south, and it's the frontage of the property just runs right along there. The next picture I have here is of the power lines. So the power is provided by Moon Lake Electric Company, and they tentatively gave me a verbal quote that this property could be connected for $4,000 to $5,000 for overhead power lines, and 6 to 8, I believe, was the price for underground. That would be to add a new transformer and then run the lines over to your power meter and get that meter installed. Uh, if you visit the property in person, then you'll also see right next to this power pole, a little south and right near the road, is a manhole cover from the private water company. The private water company is managed by the HOA, and the cost to connect to the water that runs underground there is $6,500. So between power and electric, your two main utilities, you'd be looking at right around $15,000 or less to get those connected. So that's a big plus. Very inexpensive as far as this sort of thing goes to get those utilities. Sewer uh, would be by septic tank. So you'd have a septic tank installed, and there is actually a big box that says fiber optic cable on it. I haven't done the research to find out what the cost would be to connect to high-speed internet, but it does appear that that is available in this neighborhood, which is also a big plus. Here's a close-up of that access road. Very wide, very flat, very well-maintained dirt road that goes right up to the property. This is a photograph looking due east. So from the property towards the hill, across that little wash that's there. And then here's the opposite angle. So the next one is from on top of the hill looking down toward the road. So you can kind of get an idea. You can really see that build site well if you take a look at this photo. The property boundaries are basically right in between those two power poles. If you can see those two power poles, it's pretty much just directly to where the photograph is taken from and straight across to the street. So you could build your driveway in. I would recommend, grading a driveway in on the southern section of the parcel, basically directly right into the middle of the property, closer to the uphill side, right? And you could grade out right up against the hill. That's basically what the neighbor to the south, who's already built their cabin, has done. They've kind of come, up the hill before it gets too steep, and then they've built their cabin right there with a nice wraparound porch, so you can get the views in all directions except towards the hill behind you. So lastly, we will take a look at that. This photo is taken, that build site, basically right from the center of the property, and that's towards the north. There's one other cabin that's currently built, that red cabin there, that's to the north. The other one that's already built is directly the neighboring adjoining property to the south. So just those two neighbors, and hopefully that's all you ever have. But there's only one property in between you and that red cabin, and then likely nothing anytime soon directly across the street, and then you've got the hill behind you. So again, compared to some of the other cabins you'll see on your drive into this one, very private, very affordable as far as having utilities connected. It really is a great spot to build a small cabin. That HOA fee, including all water maintenance charges, is only $515 annually, so very affordable as far as HOA fees go there as well. So please visit the website link, read through everything on the details page, watch the walkthrough video. So this is the description video, and on that walkthrough video, you can see exactly what the property looks like. So I do always recommend it a self-guided tour. If you do want to go take a look at the property, just shoot me a text, let me know you're headed out. Feel free to walk the property on your own. And between the walkthrough video, the photos, and this description video, you should have a pretty good idea of what you're purchasing. I'm sure I didn't cover everything, so if you do have any additional questions, please reach out. You can call me anytime. Phone number is on our website, or our main line, which is 480-331-5474. They all go to the same place. So I look forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you.